Robben Island stands as one of South Africa's most powerful historic landmarks, a place that reflects the country's painful past, the struggle against apartheid, and the resilience of those who fought for freedom. Located just off the coast of Cape Town, the island once served as a prison for political activists, freedom fighters, and leaders who opposed racial segregation and injustice. Today, it remains a symbol of sacrifice, courage, and the long journey towards democracy. Okay, right now I'm in the middle, not in the middle actually, at the edges of Robben Island, and you can see behind me is the Atlantic Ocean with a very, very huge wave, and there's some penguins right here behind me. They just chilled. It's a sunny day. Actually, the temperature is so cool. So I'm going to be showing you around the island. There's a lot of history that went into this island. We talk about Robert Sobukwe, we talk about Nelson Mandela, and we talk about the first Mbeki. So there's a lot to learn from this island, and I'm loving it. Cheers. After arriving by ferry from Cape Town, we stepped off the boat and made our way towards the buses that take visitors around the island. The atmosphere felt different immediately, quiet, heavy, almost like the island itself still carries the memories of everyone who passed through it. As we drove through Robben Island, it was hard not to imagine what this place must have felt like decades ago for the political prisoners who were here. Our first major stop was Sobukwe House. This house was named after Robert Sobukwe, one of South Africa's most influential anti-apartheid leaders and the founder of the Pan-Africanist Congress, also known as the PAC. Sobukwe was considered such a powerful political voice that the apartheid government created a special law specifically to keep him imprisoned even after his sentence had ended. Unlike many other prisoners, he was held separately from the rest, isolated on this island. And there is a lady who articulated the story to us detail by detail. And
you Abedi or Tswana, to Africa it does not matter because everyone here is African, and this Dompas law makes you a foreigner in your own country of birth. So he said, Africans, as a nation of dignity and humanity, no one is going to fight. However, just leave the stupid passport at home. You must walk peacefully into any police station close to you in South Africa. You arrive there and say, "Kon, kon, kon," knock, knock, knock. Police officer, outside your police station are thousands of Africans whom you classified as black. We don't have this Dompas, so please arrest us all. However, on that day, 21st of March in 1960, police stations were overcrowded by African people. That became a state of emergency for the apartheid government. At Sharpeville police station in Gauteng, the police shot and killed 69 people. Over 180 people were shot from behind. And that day was declared as the Sharpeville Massacre or Sharpeville Day. But now to all South Africans, March 21st is remembered as our National Human Rights Day. For Robert Sobukwe, it was his last day as a free person, according to the Minister of the Apartheid Justice System by the name of John Foster. He said as much as he came across many of the so-called freedom fighters, but he never met anyone quite like Robert Sobukwe. He said Sobukwe has a magnetic personality, a divine sense of mission, and great organizing ability. He referred to Sobukwe as enemy of the state number one. Sobukwe was taken to Pretoria Central Prison. He was there for 3 years. But then the apartheid parliament, they sat as cabinet in discussion, but came up with a special law for one man. They called it the Sobukwe Clause, after which they brought Sobukwe to this house in 1963. But because they said Sobukwe is not an official prisoner, he is here on Takeyer. He was confined to the fence area of this house. He could not meet any of the other political leaders. He was not allowed even to speak to the prison guards. Then by 1969, Sobukwe was declared mentally unstable. They took him away from Robben Island. He was transferred to Kimberley, a place called Khalishiwe in the Northern Cape, for a further 9 years of house arrest. His freedom came only when he died in 1978, before turning 54 years of age. And according to the apartheid government, Robert Sobukwe had died of lung cancer.
Okay, right now I'm entering maximum prison in which Tata Nelson Mandela was kept for 18 years. So this is the city gate, and watch as I take you through all the aspects. From Sobukwe House, we continued deeper into the island toward the prison itself, the place where many political prisoners were spent years of their lives. Inside the maximum security prison, we met our tour guide, Sipho Msomi. Sipho is not just a guide, he is a former political prisoner who was incarcerated here from 1984 to 1988 during apartheid. He was arrested at only 20 years of age. During his imprisonment, Sipho spent 6 months in solitary confinement, completely isolated inside these prison walls. Listening to someone who personally lived through this experience gives this tour a completely different meaning.
Before 1979, sleeping on these mats on the floor. After 79, we were given those down. Personally, I only had to sleep on the floor in my hometown in Durban. When we were attending our court case for a few months, we were in a prison where we had to sleep on the floor. But my arrival here was in December 1984. And then the actual arrest, first week of February 1984, in my hometown, Durban. I was arrested at 21 years, together with other 5 young men. They were also of my age group. Now, being arrested by South African security police, it meant they are going to torture you when they question you. They are also likely to torture you to a point where you die. There was always that likelihood. And of course, they are going to keep you in solitary confinement for many months. Usually, minimum 6 months. 6 months is already very low, but that was their minimum standard. That you keep these guys for at least 6 months in solitary confinement. So when you have been kept under 6 months, you will consider yourself very lucky. In our group, it was 6 months plus 2 weeks in solitary confinement. to be in an environment where you don't know what is happening in the world for 6 months. Mentally, it will really be challenging. Emotionally, it will be very, very challenging. Not knowing what is happening in the world. And then in the first few months, when they question you, they will also be violent. In our group, we were 6, but 6 months later, taken to court, we were 5, because one guy had already been tortured to death. His name, Tamsang Mtetwa. The word Tamsang, it means blessings or a blessing. But his biggest blessing, which is life, taken away by security police. He was at age 22. The lawyers, human rights lawyers that were representing us, fought hard, even going to court, demanding that they also want their own doctor to check his body, to determine what might have killed him. The report was that there were signs of torture on the body, but what killed him, causing the death, was a broken neck. How they broke his neck, probably we'll never know that one. Yeah, we may never know that one. Tamin Tejo. And then of course, eventually we were in court after all these challenges, frustrations brought by solitary confinement. I lost weight in solitary confinement, and I was a thin man. I was a thin young man. Yeah, I was not this big at the time, but I still lost some weight in solitary confinement. And then because of all these pressures, it was also difficult just to sleep. Just to sleep, it will be difficult in solitary confinement. When we arrive in court, big relief, meeting friends and relatives and family members, as well as meeting our lawyers. It was a very big relief. The lawyers went on to represent us, passionately representing us, and our people always attending the court case, supporting us. We had 2 lawyers. One, a young up-and-coming lawyer called Begashezi. I think he was around 28, 27 years at that time. And then the other one was a very experienced human rights lawyer, Mrs. Victoria Mkenge. I think at that time she already had almost 20 years as a human rights lawyer. We saw her for the last time on the day on which we were sentenced, because following year 1985, she was also brutally murdered by South African security police and their agents, Mrs. Victoria Mkenge. Her husband, 1982, he was also a big, strong human rights lawyer. Experienced the same thing, brutally murdered by South African security police, Mr. Griffiths. So, security police were just like that all over the country. All over the country, yes. Let me stop there for now.
After hearing Sipho's story, we continued through the prison to one of the most well-known places on Robben Island, Nelson Mandela's cell. Nelson Mandela spent 18 years imprisoned on Robben Island before later becoming the first democratically elected president of South Africa. Seeing the small cell where he was kept is a humbling experience. The room is simple, just a mat, a blanket, and a few personal items. It's difficult to imagine spending so many years confined to such a small space. But despite the harsh conditions, Mandela and many of other prisoners continued to study, organize, and support one another. Robben Island became known by some as the University of the Struggle because prisoners continued learning and educating each other even while incarcerated. Visiting Robben Island is emotional. It's a place filled with pain, sacrifice, and injustice, but also resilience, courage, and hope.